Hello, everybody. Welcome to Biz Chat. It's another Friday. I am your coach, Michelle, along with the other certified coach, Coach Noel. Each week, we bring you topics of strategic insight and encouragement to what we call that inner game that produces a successful outer game of faith-based entrepreneurship. And that's how we launch God-sized dreams into the marketplace and ministry. Coach Noel, we know we've got Dr. Darlene coming back in a few weeks. She is moving and on writing assignment. And so pray for her. Pray for Dr. Darlene. We're like, what is it? You guys, all three of us moved in 6 months. What are the chances that we would all move in 6 months' time? I don't know. So we miss you, Dr. Darlene, and can't wait to have you back.
Very much.
And today is Friday, November 5th. I told you it would happen. We would be in November by the time we saw you again. Here it is. We are in the month of Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving. So one of the things we want to talk about today is kind of what our expectations are and breaking agreement with some things and counting the costs and coming into agreement and alignment on the other side. So stick around. This is going to be so freeing for you and us, I think, even just to talk about it this week. We've been talking about it, and it's been just sort of wind beneath our wings. So we can't wait to talk about that today. But first, what you drinking? It's chat time, ladies. We know this journey of entrepreneurship can be a wee bit lonely. So we like to come on and just chat like friends.
Sometimes.
Like we don't know that you have a great support system around you of entrepreneurship and people who really understand what the hip hop you're doing. And so here we are to just say, we get you. We get you. And do you see, I have the microphone right in my face today because how embarrassing last time we have the pro, Clay Clark, on. I listened to the replay and all sorts of feedback.
Yeah.
Like, I need to move my microphone. So it will be right here from now on, hopefully a little bit better when we listen to replays for you. So I apologize for last week's technical errors, but man, go listen because Clay Clark, wow, he was so much fun to have on, Coach Noel.
Yeah, it was a hoot. I could talk to that guy for hours.
Yes,
or listen.
Thankfully, we hopefully will, because guess we're going. Did you guys hear?
Yeah.
He dropped a bomb. His business conference, normally $250 for just $50 for us. I don't know if you could throw up the last week that.
Let's see if I can find it.
Link.
But I'm going to type it in, even if it's not there yet. So give me a second.
If you guys have the first week in December, join us. We'd love to know you're coming. Tag us. Let us know you're going. On timetofreeamerica.com. Clay will be opening up a business conference there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we are going to be there.
Yep.
So we'd love to meet up with you. We'd love to encourage you. We'd love to just give you a hug if you'll take one. So we will be there, and we are bringing people with us. So we already have a party going. So can't wait for that. So Coach Noel, how's your week? What you drinking? Let's let everybody know. We get it.
Yeah.
There are highs and lows of the week. And yes, we missed you too, Joyce Ann.
Yeah.
Our faithful girl. I tell you, I don't think I've met a more faithful lady.
Yeah, I saw some of your posts. It sounds like you had an amazing time, Joyce Ann. So okay, so highs and lows. Get your head on, Noel. I just met with a client just before the show this morning, who's, as a family member, she's having to say goodbye to. So I'm feeling a little weepy.
Yeah, that's a low.
Yeah, just the ebbs and flows of life, right? So I would say that was actually, it's a low for sure. Grief is definitely a low, but there's maybe a sweetness in it when it causes you to think about the people you love and the importance and to hold on and ask the questions and have the conversations you need to have. And that was kind of one of the things we prayed for, that she would he's having a procedure done, and just praying that that would be successful so she'd have a little more time to say goodbye well. So I would say that was the low. And my high was I got an idea for a blog, and I wrote it right then. Like, I wrote it when the feelings were up, and I posted that on my business page as well as my personal page. And the responses to that have been very, I've been a little surprised at the responses to it. And also had a little stuff. I realized I had some stuff, inner game stuff around being visible. And, you know, Michelle, you and I have talked about that it's time to get the show more visible, and that we were both okay with it not being super visible. And so
we like hiding.
Yeah. And
I
so
keep playing hide and seek with you guys. Like, can you find us?
Yeah. So I think that God was kind of allowing me to see, like, oh yeah, there's been some stuff in that, you know, and getting more comfortable. So that's a high, but also an inner game stuff that I'm like, okay, God, I'm ready to walk through that because it is time.
Yeah.
So yeah, what about yours?
Yeah. So drinking some pretty dark coffee this morning because I did not sleep this week, guys. I don't know if you guys are in the same boat. I know Coach Noel, you said you didn't sleep well last night either. I have not slept well all week. I know that there are things must be happening in the atmosphere. That's what happens with me, like in the spiritual atmosphere. If things are not calm, I am up because I feel God's calling me to pray, basically, is what happens in the nighttime. So third watch is definitely I guess, is that what it is? Third watch in the middle of the night. I usually get called up at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's kind of how it's been. But actually this week, none. Like, there are nights 0 sleep. So it's been an intense spiritual week, I think. But good fruit, like, on the earth. Like, I feel like we have never been more excited about the direction this show is going and where God's taking us. Like, that to me was such a big high. Like, you and I have had major breakthroughs in our personal businesses as well as this business. So those, wouldn't you say, Dr. and Coach Noel, were just like the sweet times of this week. Like, we've been able to go back and forth almost all week of just breakthroughs in this and getting excited about Clay's conference and that kind of thing. And but personally too, just, of course, you guys know I shared last week, we had a lot of stuff going on, big stuff with and I just have seen a huge breakthrough there as well. We have had a week of peace, like on earth. It has been peace on earth. So I feel like what I've been contending for in the spirit realm has been released. Like, it is, it's been a sweet, peaceful week. Last night, date night, just savoring the peace. Like, my husband's looking at me like, like, walking through the parking lot, just going into the next store, like, feeling the peace, eating the next bite of food, feeling the peace. Like, he's like, what is up with you? I was like, I'm just enjoying this, because if it ever goes away, I will savor every minute of just what it's like to live in this place where things are at peace. Like, at least I'm at peace. Like, there, even though we don't have resolution on everything, I am in this place of peace. So
yay.
It's been just kind of fun to watch.
Shalom, experiencing shalom.
You got it. Yeah. And then we get to go back to Minnesota, and I get to have this mop cut off at Thanksgiving. You know how it is when you move, you don't want to, like, trust somebody new with your hair. So I'm not quite ready for that. So yes, highs for this week. So yeah, let's jump into the topic today. We want to talk about the topic we kind of came up with where it came from was last week with Clay. We got so much feedback in our coaching group as well as personally, just this whole agreement issue with what happens when we really take on this new journey of entrepreneurship or a new phase of our entrepreneurship or anything in life. Quite frankly, we got to count the cost, and that often means we're breaking agreement and we're coming into agreement with different things. It's a different season. And so we don't always think to go back and think, wait a minute, I need to realign. And so we're going to talk about that today. And I know, Coach Noel, you kind of had just kind of a awareness of expectation, and that's usually where it starts. Like we get a call, we have this thing, and then there's a lot of expectation around it based on what we've seen other people do or our own life. So I want you to give you a minute to share just how your journey started and where we started really realizing, personally, that we might be in agreement with things that aren't quite what God's asking anymore or for the future.
Or how he wired us. Yeah. So in terms of, I'll maybe start with counting the cost, because I don't know about you ladies, but I really felt like I didn't get into the entrepreneur thing because like I felt like it was calling, right? Like I closed my private practice because I felt like God was calling me to do something else. And then I jumped into taking a lot of courses, online courses from, all the guys. It was mostly men at that point. And thinking like, oh, this is great. I want to be an entrepreneur, but I'll have time to be a mom and it's going to be great. And because it was calling, it never occurred to me that it might be hard and it might be long.
Surprise.
So I had very high expectations, and it was faith. So that was good, but I also was not ready for the length of time it took and the cost that it took. And I think that's partly why, scripture does tell us to count the cost. Mm-hmm. And I definitely did not do that just because I didn't think that there really was going to be any entrepreneurial cost for me, to be really honest about it, because I'm doing what God wants me to do. And so it's going to be, he's going to make a way. And it was extremely painful. And, most of you know the stats. I'm sure that businesses usually take 3 to 5 years to stabilize if they survive. And Clay told us last week that 80% of businesses fail in those first few years. But I just had, like, there was going to be no failure. And we totally burned the ships. Personally, our family did. And so what that led, because I didn't count the cost, and I'm really honestly not sure how I would have, because I just was so green,
which is why we're talking about it today.
Right.
Because we know we're not alone.
Yeah.
That if you're sitting on the pool side right now and you haven't started your business, it's probably because you are one of those people who are like, I'm not sure what I'm getting into, and I'm not sure I'm ready to count the cost, and I don't even know how to count the cost. So move us into that, Coach Noelle. How are we, what is I think a healthy way to start counting the cost? I know we kind of brought up agreement last week. Thoughts on that?
And I think that Clay nailed it last week in his show. When he said, I think he said in his book, if you're not ready to work for, what did he say, 5 years? 5 years without any visible fruit or affirmation, don't bother starting. And that's really about what it took for me, maybe a little longer, because we were doing two, like my husband and I did 2 different businesses simultaneously. So I would say that would be a good starting point. Now, are there some people who God flourishes right away? Yes, but I had no business skills, girls.
Yeah, I think those who flourish right away have had such a history. It's like those are the people that kind of, it's a little deceiving because you don't see all the past storyline of what they actually did in business to shape that and get themselves staged for a quick takeoff. So I love that. Count the cost. What things, I think these are great questions to ask ourselves. Like how can I count the cost?
Yeah.
Like, what are some great questions we can ask ourselves as we're going into a new venture, or we're up leveling in our adventure with God in an entrepreneur journey or anything in life? Really count the cost. What are some questions we can ask ourselves? For me, it was what has to go. I mean, there's only so much time and energy in in my life. So what has to go? And that, I think, is a question I don't like to ask myself because I don't want anything to have to go. I
Right.
don't really want to sacrifice things, or what has to change or shift. So time wise, okay, if I'm not willing to let it go, how am I going to split this time? What is going to have to change? Is something going to have to take a tiny little background, like on the back burner for a while? And then putting that on the back seat, like really almost physically taking, like moving like furniture. Like, have you ever done this in your new place? I think you did this, right?
Yeah.
You drew a little thing when you're moving and you're like, okay, is my new furniture going to fit? Same thing with what's going on in our lives. Is it going to fit anymore? Right? Can I move the furniture around and it still fit in my life, or it's not going to fit? Like, it just looks ridiculous. It just, isn't
Right.
going to.
Because an overcrowded house is just not restful, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Same with this overcrowded life.
Guys, I'd be interested to know too, what in the chat, what in your life have you ever had to count the cost, and what things had to go, or did you ask yourself these questions of, I'm stepping into this new journey. Is there something also that now that I have this new assignment that needs my resources, like I am going to now come agreement. I've counted the cost too. I'm coming in agreement and my time is now here. And I feel like when we do that, when we say, okay, I've counted the cost and I've asked myself these questions, and now we go over to, I'm going to come into agreement with my time is now going to be here, and my energy is now going to be here, and my financial commitments are now going to be here. My family commitments are now over here, and we're in alignment. I feel like that is where it gives us so much freedom and permission. I don't know if you felt that, Coach Noelle, where all of a sudden you're like, I can say no to that and not feel guilty because I'm under assignment now. I'm under alignment, assignment, agreement. It's all here. All the A words: alignment, assignment, agreement. Maybe somebody can type that in. Alignment, assignment, agreement. Like, it's all got to go together. And that's when it feels healthy instead of a stress. It's when it feels healthy to say no to somebody because you're not just giving them the runaround. Like, you truthfully, honestly know in your heart, like, I can't say yes to this. Or I can't say yes to the next commitment because I'm in agreement over here with this. Call me. Thank you, Stella. Alignment, assignment, and agreement. Coach Noelle, have you got another takeaway on that?
Well, and I kind of, Sumi posted here, that's where I am, breaking agreement right now, pushing forward. And it is difficult. And there's a grieving process in it. And Sumi, and those of you who are online with what Sumi just posted, post in the chat, what are the things you find yourself needing to break agreement with? Because for me, part of the fact that I didn't count the cost, I had agreements around how easy it was going to be. And when those didn't happen, I felt like a failure. And the disappointment was so deep that it was hard to keep moving forward.
Wow. So that's really interesting that you felt disappointed in yourself, where I felt disappointed in God. Like, he had let me down because I thought it was going to be this smooth path.
That too. Yeah, definitely.
So breaking agreement with that God is always good, that he is always faithful, that he is always able, and that he will never leave us or forsake us. And when those are limiting beliefs, guys, right? Limiting beliefs that are holding us back somehow. Because if we come in agreement with those type of viewpoints of God, we are not going to flourish in our business. So those are things I found that I have to break agreement with, that at any point in this, God's not good. At any point in this journey, he's not able. At any point, he's not faithful. Or at any point he's not leading me. He's never going to forsake us, right? But another thing, of course, when we flip it, like, not just about my viewpoints of God that I've had to break agreement with, I've had to break agreement with viewpoints of myself that I didn't hear God right. Can I get an amen? You heard God right. If there's one thing that comes up in our coaching and our roadmappers over and over, is that identity statement that we create on pillar 2. It is so significant to have an identity statement to come back to what he called us to do, because we can so many times self-doubt, and I had to come into break agreement that I did not hear God right. No, you heard God right. Remember, and even sometimes we'll coach each other during the week, Coach Noel, and it's like, oh, we got to go back to what did God say, and having that written down for me is super helpful. I don't know what tricks you might have, Coach Noel, when we're trying to break agreement with maybe I didn't hear right or other things you're breaking agreement with on your self stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that one is a big one for me, is that I didn't hear right. And part of that, I think, just comes with that identity is realizing, Joyce Ann says amen to the identity statement. Well, part of, one of the things I think I mentioned this in my high and low was having written a blog and posted it on my personal page, and the response. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because God told me, I don't know, 20 years ago that I was going to be a speaker and a writer. And my husband, I didn't listen, unfortunately, but my husband kept saying, God didn't call you to be an internet marketer, Noelle. He called you to be a speaker and a writer. And so when I have started working on the book and started getting that identity, what I've been called to, and doing that instead of trying to learn all of the things, that is when things start to flourish, because I am in my identity. And so I had to break agreement. A lot of times we have to break agreement with the experts who have made all sorts of money and who are really successful in what we want to do. And we want to, do that instead of what God told us to do.
Yeah, we've got one of the things that we do so well as internet marketers or marketing our own business is we learn to market well and sell well. And so it can sound really good to do it somebody else's way, but we have got to go back to what is God calling us to do and break agreement with that I'm going to be misled by anything you didn't say, God, for me to do in this. And that has been probably huge for both of us to say, oh my, I didn't realize how many things are targeting me as an entrepreneur, and they're good things. They're nothing like, we're not speaking against them. They're just not, they're not the things for us. And so breaking agreement with, I have to do all these things in order to be a successful business owner or entrepreneur. You don't have to do all the things. You just have to do the next thing God's asking you to do in the season that you're in.
I will always be a learner. But what I'm learning now is that I buy courses from people who are teaching me how to speak and write well. And it's a different nuance. It's a more focused. Yeah,
exactly. And one of the things we said just recently this week is we're not going to buy any more courses until we've exhausted the free resources that these people give us.
Yeah.
then you can go and purchase, right? Because if we're not, then we'll get a good handle on whether or not this is really for us. So great way to test the waters of whether you're coming into agreement with something new is to make sure you've consumed some free content. And find out if that's
then you kind of figure out who they are and if they're in line with what God has already told you to do. Instead of trying to find the person to fix it for you, you know what you've got within you, and you find the people that God who have a similar mission to teach you.
Yes, so good. So good. One of the things that I have had to break agreement with is past commitments. So there's some things that were for a season, and it's hard to say now that's no longer in my now assignment. Letting some of that stuff go and knowing really, really, God, I'm letting go of this. This is pretty integral to what's been part of my life. Having to break agreement with past assignments or past commitments, past goals, past priorities, to make new room for new priorities that align with this new identity and this new season. Really taking some intentional time to go back and say, especially if you guys, if you're finding some days you're just so scattered, you don't know where you're supposed to go next, or you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm not even sure what the right next step is for my day.
Probably, what am I supposed to be doing here?
Yes, probably there's some past commitments that are interfering with the future and the now commitments. And so there's some time to go and sort that all out and say, okay, Lord, what have I maybe agreed with in the past that was right for then is not right for my future. And I need to reprioritize these goals. And so that brings us right back to where we started, counting the cost. If we set goals without counting the cost and breaking agreement with some things, those goals probably won't materialize. And that is a hard thing to hear, ladies. I know it's not easy to hear this, but you probably won't reach your goals and probably won't set the right goals if you haven't done the exercise of coming into agreement with what God wants and breaking agreement with the old, make new friends, keep you. All that has to kind of happen in order to get this alignment and really get into your groove and get the goals set that are right and get them actually accomplished. And I feel like maybe that's part of our breakthrough this week. Coach Noel, we've been actually reaping some of this that we've done is like, man, we feel the wind under, like we are moving at a very quick pace all of a sudden, and maybe coming into some of this agreement and breaking away from things that were distracting us, quite frankly, from the true goal. As well as kind of breaking agreement with some limiting beliefs that we didn't need to be seen. Now we know we need to be seen. So hopefully that encourages you guys today. If you know of somebody who would benefit by hearing this, we'd really love it if you shared today's podcast. I don't know if you noticed, like if you like our page, you will get an alert every time we upload a podcast, and you can just hit the shared button from Facebook now, and our podcast will go. It's a new feature of Facebook, so it make it super easy for you. And woo, the sun is rising over the mountains, and I'm getting blinded.
Forget to close it again today.
I forget to close the drapes because it's pitch black when we start. So, ladies, yes, this is recorded, and you can go to Anchor FM or Apple iTunes and look up Biz Chat. And that is our podcast name on all of the places. It's on Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere. You can subscribe there, and it'll alert you as soon as a new episode pops up. And like I said, it will actually pop up on Facebook now. So super excited that all those avenues are available, and you can share them all through there. So, Coach Noel, any final thoughts as we hop off? And again, invitation, you guys get to the business conference with Clay Clark, December 2nd and 3rd. We would love, love, love to see you guys there. There's already 4 of us going to be there. We'd love to have more join us. Thrive Time, or what is the link for that?
TimeToFreeAmerica.com. Let me see if I can post it. And Audrey Griffith, yes, it is recorded. And make sure you let us know. Actually post what's the work you have to do so we can come in agreement with that and support you on that.
Would love that.
All right. TimeToFreeAmerica.com, December 2 and 3. So anybody in the Chattanooga area that we're actually decided to road trip it. So we've got a couple of more seats in the car if anybody wants to road trip. And then we have time to prayer and plan for 11 hours.
It's a long road trip.
on the first. I love road trips, so that'll be part of the fun for me. So December 1, we're heading out if anybody is on this side of the country and wants to join.
Yay. Right. So we will be hopping over into our membership group. We would love to have you in our membership group. If you need a low-cost way to jump in the ark with other like-minded, kingdom-minded, faith-based, amazing entrepreneurs, we have a coaching group every Monday. And then we, of course, go in after these broadcasts on Friday. We go drop some Friday fire and really have this great just camaraderie and encouragement and coaching. Dr. Darlene hops in there. Yeah, it is sunny. So we would love to have you in our membership group. There's the link there, faithoverfearbizchicks.com/membership. And if you just need to connect with us, we have a 15-minute call. Just hop in. It's our free gift to you. We love to connect with everybody that is a part of our show. It's we consider you part of our family, our entrepreneurial family. So you can hop on our Calendly anytime. The link is there, Faith Over Fear. It'll be in the show notes as well. And you can click on that link, and one of us will be hopping on with you and just take some time to get you some clarity or whatever it is you're looking for. All right, Coach Noel, we got to go. Our time is up, and we will see everybody next Friday, the 12th, I guess. Yes. And member sit, we're coming for you. All right, ladies, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.